Physiotherapy is the highlight of 3-year-old Matteo's day, the delight of feeling his body moving freely, a moment of escape. Part of his challenge under the watchful eye of his therapist is learning to walk. Because while little Matteo looks like any other smiling, energetic child, just 12 months ago, he was at death's door, fighting to stay alive.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 13, 14, 15, bag. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, bag. 1, 2, 3, 4,
This happened 12 more times over a 24-hour period. Time and again, in a sequence that repeated itself a dozen times, his heart stopped, and the ICU team and baby fought back from near certain death. After one resuscitation, the chances of survival are about 30%. Laura and Matteo Botha tried for 12 years to have a child, eventually opting for adoption. But that wasn't so easy. For another 2 long years, they waited for that call.
Things have not been easy for this little guy from the get-go. He was abandoned in hospital and after 6 weeks came into Laura and Matthew's life.
There we go. There's the cone. For a long time, we had been dreaming. We had got the baby's room ready. I had the cutout of a magazine that said a room for Quinn. The social workers actually named him Quinn. It was just amazing, unbelievable. He was made for us in every way, yeah.
Sure, it was quite a shock at first to get the call and then to get him here. It's a learning process. It was just really amazing. It brought so much joy to our lives. It was something that we were missing, and we're just so grateful to have him in our lives now.
Matteo built him a jungle gym and looked forward to the day when his son would shoot down the slide. For 18 months, Matteo thrived. Life was good. Overnight, it turned into a nightmare.
He woke up screaming, yeah, in pain. So we rushed him to hospital. They did an X-ray, a few X-rays, and then they saw that there was some kind of blockage and that he needed surgeries.
Specialist pediatric pulmonologist and intensivist Dr. 𝗂𝗄𝗄𝗃 was on duty.
The intestine had wrapped around itself and became gangrenous, and that led to a whole sequence of events, including severe organ dysfunction, sepsis, shock, etc.
Once stabilized, he was rushed into surgery and a large part of his gangrenous bowel removed. Suddenly, his heart stopped mid-procedure. They fought hard for 18 minutes to bring him back. After surgery, his condition continued to deteriorate. It was touch and go.
So when the surgeon came in and told us what had happened, it was like you hearing this, but you just...
It's like a dream.
They're telling you this, like you want to run away, but there's no way you can run.
Critically ill, his heart was racing and erratic. Pediatric cardiologist Dr. 𝗂𝗃𝗃 was called in.
He had several rhythms. This particular rhythm is incredibly rare and shouldn't appear just after a bowel operation. In fact, it was masked.
In other words, among 8 different heart rhythms, critical information was being hidden. The culprits were antibodies from an earlier COVID infection, complicating his treatment and causing his heart to race over 300 beats per minute.
Usually you have warning signs. You can see a child deteriorate slowly, but with him, his were sudden changes, which also made managing him quite difficult.
Because he was so critically ill, he actually flatlined for about 12 times in the 24 hours that I was looking after him. And each and every point in time, together with the ICU team, we got him back.
11, 12.
And each time his heart stopped, it took over 30 minutes to bring him back to life.
What is it like to revive such a small patient?
So it's very stressful. There's a lot of hype in the room. Time is more loss of brain tissue.
It was a miracle, but it was costing Matteo. Each time he returned, it was with less brain function.
At resuscitation number 9 or 10, you doubt yourself. What are you actually doing? What is the quality of life for this child actually going to be like? What is the burden going to be like to the parents?
But in that moment, it was all about saving his life. ICU sister 𝗀𝗶𝗴𝗶𝗴𝗶's 28 years of experience carried her team.
It becomes difficult when we try to do this and it doesn't work. But what we have learned over the time that we are working with the sick babies, never to give up.
We looked at the hope that the parents had and the fact that they didn't want to let go, and we kept going as well.
But the ethical dilemma weighed heavily on them.
When we did the MRI scan of his brain, we saw that there was significant damage. And saying to them, guys, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. And I know how precious he is to you. It was tough. It was some of the toughest times I've ever had.
This angel that we had waited for, and finally we had become parents, and he was our everything. And to be going through that was, yeah, a nightmare.
Absolute nightmare.
That
To see all those machines and the tubes and the wires and everything. Very emotional.
Yeah.
So when he left our unit, he was much like a vegetable. He couldn't swallow. There was a tube that was inserted into his stomach. There was a tracheostomy that was done so he could breathe better. We thought he was blind. We thought he would not be able to walk again, or crawl, or talk.
But Matteo defied expectations. His parents' refusal to give up was rewarded by his fighting spirit.
So what for you was the miracle moment?
When he was still in ICU and he was sleeping, but he started to smile and believing that he's coming back.
Then I tickled him that day in rehab, and he just laughed. It was when I just knew everything was going to be all right.
Because you have to be so strong, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's such an amazing mother. That's it's just shone through, you know. It's been difficult.
Because the part of you had to mourn the baby like he was when he went into ICU. That was hard as well.
His brain is young and able to learn new pathways.
What does the cow say? Moo, there we go, clever boy, moo.
So every day, he goes to some form of therapy to the next. And the best part of the day for all of them is physiotherapy with 𝗀𝗻𝗶𝗿𝗆.
You can do it. There you go. Yay, come up, come up. There you go, Matteo. Good job. I can feel you sitting. For him, it's supposed to be play. He doesn't notice that we are working so hard. I would like to see him walking one day, even if it's on his time, but we're going to push him as much as we can. And 1,000!
It's really hard work, but Matteo is making remarkable progress.
It's been a grueling year, but this festive season looks promising.
We just keep on seeing improvements. That's what helps a lot. It's week to week, but even day to day, we're just seeing improvements the whole time.
It's just going to get better and better. Soon, he's going to be walking and running, and we're going to be running after him again.
Matteo's recovery has exceeded the medical team's wildest expectations.
To then have this with this condition that was completely unusual. I mean, it didn't follow any textbook, nothing that we've done before. You know, to then have this outcome is amazing.
What stands out for you about baby Matteo?
Well, I see his will. It's loud and clear. He's got an ability to fight, and he's here to do something. He's here to change the world in some way. I don't know what it is, but there's a reason that he's here.